Do you miss the life at all? You know, at 57 years old, I'm assuming you're living a fairly square life. You're not trying to go back to prison anymore. Do you miss your heyday?
Listen, there's things you're going to miss about it. I mean, particularly Gotti, people ask me about him. I said, we had some fun together too. Can't say we didn't, we laughed. But I don't live a particularly square life. I travel a lot, I have fun. I mean, you make your own fun. It doesn't have to be criminal to be fun. I got a lot of good friends out there that I stayed in touch with over the years, and I got a lot of new friends. I'm always jumping into something that's exciting, and there's new ventures, and you know, living life, man. I enjoy life. I love life, man. I enjoy life. I live it to the fullest. I'm not one of those guys that sit at home all day. I'll never do that. That's not who I am. So I think, you know, it's the person. If the person wants to have, you know, guys go out of the house and, you know, you have that saying all the time, the glass is half full. No, you know, it depends on how you look at things. It's not that sunny out. I mean, you make your own choices in your own life, and I just made a choice to live life now and not to live a bad life like I used to. I decided to like myself instead of retributing after everybody that bothers me. So I choose to enjoy this part of my life and to make it award, you know, feel like I have some awards to it, and rewarding life is helping others really. So I think I get a lot out of that. I like it.
Well, and you brought someone today that you want us to speak to as well?
Yeah, this is a guy that was, again, Fat Andy Ruggiano and Alvin and Anthony's family member. I know him when he was born. I haven't seen him for years, and he was a street kid. He kind of jumped into what I did, and he started staying with Bonanno guys, and he knows a lot of the mob guys in modern day. He just came home, and he's a guy that I'm talking about a second chance with, and kids like him. He's in his early 30s, and he knows the mob life, and he was a tough kid. And he's seen firsthand that the guys he was staying with weren't violent. He was, and what it gets you. So I did bring him, and I know his family forever. So he comes from a heritage of gangster family from generations.
Okay, John, you actually brought someone with you today. We have Gene Borrello sitting down next to you, who was born into the Gambino crime family, but actually was affiliated with the Bonanno crime family. And to make a long story short, he essentially had a similar job as you as the enforcer of the Bonanno crime family.
Correct. When I left the neighborhood, guys that, you know, get reputations around the neighborhood as being tough guys, wild guys, gangsters, he kind of stepped into the shoes of where I was when I left off, and just came out of jail and trying to change his life also.
Yep.
Okay, now Gene, you just did 5.5 years.
Right.
Okay, now read off the laundry list of charges that you ultimately pled out to.
Well, I mean, I had a state conspiracy at first, a Florida conspiracy on top of that, and then my federal charges was conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, shooting assault, home invasion, well, actually called a Hobbs Act robbery, arson, loan sharking, and illegal gambling. You know, just a lot of violence, basically. That was my department.
Okay, how many people did you shoot?
About 3. But I was
Okay.
responsible for, you know, multiple more shootings.
And were these ordered by the boss of the family?
Yes. My captain, right.
Can you say who that was?
Ronald G. Alonzo.
Is he still around?
He's in jail.
Okay. What made you want to get into this life?
Probably the money. Growing up, you know, I've seen easy money, nice things that I wanted, and, you know, it was easy to get that money with them. They were making a lot of money. The guys I was around, the guy I answered to was very wealthy, and I seen the money and the power over there, and I wanted it.
And did you know John before?
Who?
Did you know John?
Yes, of
The
course.
guy sitting next to you?
Yes, yes. Yeah, he worked for my uncle back in the day.
Okay. And did he mentor you at all, or not so much?
Not so much, but, you know, we all looked up to him. He was a real rough, tough guy coming up, you know. So everybody knew who he was.
How old were you when you first started shooting people?
20.
Okay. And when you first started shooting people, how did you react afterwards?
I didn't care. You know, I was just doing what I was told, and that's what I thought you're supposed to do, you know?
Okay, but you grew up at a later time.
Right.
You're younger. You're how old?
35.
35. So let's just do the math here. You did 5 years So that means you went in around 2014.
I was 30.
You were 30. And during that time, this is when there is the internet, there's smartphones, there's cameras everywhere.
Right. I was doing broad daylight shootings on top of it. One guy tried to kill in broad daylight in the middle of broad day. Right. So I was just out of control, you know? Once I put that gun in my hand, that was it. It was not a good thing. So.
Right, because I remember one of the things that I learned about John when going through my research was that John was known as someone that would shoot anyone anywhere.
Right. I was similar. Right. My whole thing was wherever I could get you. Right.
See, the problem, Vlad, is our neighborhood. Instead of breeding athletes and guys that want to be doctors and lawyers, we got guys that, like prior to me was Robert Engels. I would look up to him. I stepped in his shoes. And, you know, unfortunately, Gene's being raised the same way. We want to be gangsters in our neighborhood. So when I walk away from that area, he steps in, somebody's going to take that position. He wanted to take that position. We're eager to take that position. Unfortunately, that's why we talk about the Second Chance program and getting that mentality away from the next generation.
Yeah. You know, for instance, we had an altercation. A guy was hiding from me, so I couldn't get to him. So I went with his house with a Tech 9 machine gun, and I sprayed his whole house up because, you know, he was hiding from me, and that's how I had to do it. He didn't want to come meet me, so, you know, he got my friend shot through the neck, tried to kill me. So I retaliated. I got a machine gun, and I aired his whole house out. And that's how I was.
Okay, and were you arrested for that particular incident?
Nah, he was another mob guy, so he held it down. He wouldn't come again. I went back again and did it a week later. And then I went back 2 weeks later and set all his cars on fire. And then he moved. And that's how I won. So that's how I was. You know, I was very, if I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. I'm not going to stop till I get you. And that's how I was.